can see from those opening shots, my model railway is very much still under construction. But I'm a year into what I class as a long-term project, so I just wanted to review what I'd been doing over the last year and just look back at some of the progress I had made. And this story goes back even further than last year, so back to the early 1990s. I've just dug out this old dusty book. This was my project book from when I did the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. I don't know which year, but I did this as part of my skills section of the award. So Clapham Palace South East was the name of my model railway back then. There was actually three of us, three good friends that I grew up with, all lived very close to each other, all had kind of stations around a similar region, all based on Network South East. So I've got all my old track plans in here, and looking back, it was very basic in terms of scenery. You didn't really have the resources that you had these days, or the money when you were an early teenager. Actually, there's a few photographs from this folder that I've not seen for many years. Majority of the engines and coaching stock that I had way back then, I've still got now, and that's actually all I've got. So everything that I had, everything I'm seeing in these photographs, and then I can see as I started to get a little bit older, I started to develop, I started expanding a little bit. See there, I had an incline for a while. I think it's safe to say that in my later teenage years, I completely lost interest in anything like this. And it's funny, my dad always used to say to me, you'll get back into this one day. And 20-something years later, I finally got a house that had a loft in. And he was right, I couldn't wait to bring all my old stuff back. And that brings us right up to date with May last year. So the back end of May 2022, and we'd paid to get the loft boarded out and insulated. Now, if I could change one thing going back, I'd board out the roof beams properly, because this silver foil didn't last past the first strong wind. So I've had to make some modifications to that myself. But never mind, you live and learn. So I was really keen to make a start on the baseboards. So off I went, bought lots of plywood, lots of timber, made a start. Couple of months it took me in total to get to a position that I was happy with the baseboards. I think I learnt more in those 2 months in terms of woodwork and DIY than I had in my entire life previously. I was resisting the urge not to get track and trains out of their box until I'd finished with the baseboards. And by the beginning of August, I'd done a complete circuit of the loft, and I had all the boards primed with a grey undercoat as well. Now, I don't work too far from Rails of Sheffield model shop, so I was in there most lunchtimes getting track and point work ready, and I was ready to start laying the track then. And August the 3rd was the inaugural test run. Open the curtains this morning, and it's another rainy morning, so opportunity to do a little bit more work in the loft today. Rained pretty much all yesterday. It's kind of good because it allows me to get things done, but I wouldn't abide being up here if it was nice outside, to be honest. But I have got a little bit of track work laid now. It's the first line, got a bridge in. It's the first, that's going to be a viaduct over a ravine, and then just round into the entrance to the station. And I've run out of rail joiners now, so that's put a stop to this week's fun. So just going back to that ravine, so when I was doing the planning for the baseboards, I had a little bit of a gap, and I thought, just instead of filling it with a straight piece of plyboard so everything's level, I thought I've got a chance here to do something a little bit creative. So we'll see how I'm getting on with that a little bit later in this video. That's the floorboards creaking, by the way. I still say that getting that first load of track work laid is probably the most exciting time of a model railway starting out. I've been able to spend 1 or 2 hours up in the loft before it does start getting too warm outside. But I've now got 2 tracks down all the way around, so making good progress. Almost ready to start on the woodwork to get the upper level. So the other 2 tracks of the 4-track layout involved going up an incline onto a raised area on the other side of the layout, and that incline would be incorporating this bridge. So planning and building those inclines, I think, has been the most technical part of the build so far. So we've now got 2 complete loops on the bottom level, slap a bit of track down on the incline, and we've got a little head shunt for the time being. In September, started experimenting with a little bit of scenery, just covering up some of the timbers at the back of the baseboards. And the Woodland Scenics background came, so it was an opportunity just to line up all the Class 47s. In October, we had a couple of additions to the layout, courtesy of friend of the channel, David. A number of old triangle locomotives that he was no longer needing. And we also made a start on the incline on the other side of the layout. We can see the bridges being put into place here. Later in October, we saw the completion of 4 running lines. Do forgive the messy working conditions that you can see in this photo. In November, I started progressing on the scenery, getting a bit dirty with the sculptor mould and the plaster cloth. And I started to build up the corner ready for a town scene on top of what would be a railway tunnel. But I'll hand over it to myself in January this year, just to give you an update what I've been getting on with. I've not fetched the floodlight up with me, it's a bit dark in this corner. But I'm halfway through putting the viaduct together there, and then obviously hopefully a trestle bridge on this side. Then that's going to be the river underneath. Again, it's all unfinished, but I started doing a little bit of scenery. I've got some grass and some ballast in order and some shrubbery and things like that, just to have my first attempt at putting some countryside down here. So bring around here, yeah, there's some nice hills. I've been experimenting with a bit of plaster cloth, and I've got this in the corner. It just looks like wood at the moment, but this is a scenic break from exiting the station there. Goes through a tunnel, comes out of that tunnel portal there. Sorry, it is dark. And on the top, I'm just going to do some town scenes, and I've got a castle, the Metcalfe Castle. It's going to sit on that lower bit with another grass bank in there. I picked up these little culvert portals second hand. I thought they'd look good just for a small farm access under the incline. So I built a little tunnel just before I started to layer up the embankments for the side of the railway lines. Now you're probably thinking it looks a little bit unconventional methods, but it did look okay once I got the plaster cloth and the sculptor mould up laid on top of there. And a little bit of base paint to go underneath the grass and the scenery, but I've still got much more to do on this. That was my first attempt at greenery and foliage. It's resembled a Trebo Extra Soft Mint advert from the 90s at times with all the white. But all the layers are starting to come together, but it's still far from the finished product. But it's been a lot of fun just adding more and more layers of greenery, more and more layers of scenery. And here's the progress from the other mouth of the tunnel. Again, very much a work still in progress, but I'll show you towards the end of this video how I'm getting on with this. Right, everything that you've seen so far on this video has been recorded by me on my settee downstairs whilst I've been continuing with my recuperation. So I'm sure people are sick of me mentioning this now, but obviously since my accident at the beginning of May, zero chance of getting up those loft ladders. That wasn't too bad actually. The hardest bit is I can't actually kneel down. But this is the first time I've been up into the loft in over 2 months now. Last time I was up here was the end of April, just before I went on holiday. So to close this video off, I thought it would be a good idea just to come up and show you what I have achieved, rather than just showing you the photos. So let me talk you around. I put the floodlight on because it does suffer from bad lighting at the moment. I've got to get some more LEDs up, I think. Not really done much. I don't know if you can see that. I've not really made any start on the station yet. The track works complete. There's a bit of tidying up to do. I'm kind of working at the moment on this area that we can see. Again, please excuse the mess. I do need to have a tidy up. In this area that you can see here, you can see I've been busy doing some card models over the last few months while I have been sat on my backside. So got the castle finished, so some castle walls. And my next job is just to get a few more things, just to fill out the area on top with some more buildings, a little bit more scenery. So this is the bit that I've been making most progress on. It looks a bit bright, doesn't it, in the light. I've still got more trees, more foliage, more grass to put down there. I finally filled in around that tunnel portal. It's just sculpture mould at the moment, very much unfinished. Next thing, one of the next things to do is just to tidy up that viaduct, finish off the ravine, get some water in, get this second bridge done, and just continue with the scenery. Get some grass down here. I've got some cows, a little bit of a crossing that I started to make there. Is that better with the light? Got some crossing gates and some fences and things to put up. Got the church that I've been building, so I'm gonna have a nice little church scene on the top of a hill there once that's finished. And then we'll move around into what I'm kind of loosely basing on Clown. So we're going to be having a replica of the station that I've been covering the restoration of in Clown over there, hopefully in the next few months. So that's 1 year on. Well, it's a little bit more than 1 year, isn't it? It's May, but we're in July now. What can you do? So I've got a lot to be cracking on with now. Lots of little bits that need doing. But I think I'll save that for a future video. Oh, and I still do need a name for this layout. I really can't come up with any inspiration, so I'm open to suggestions. If anyone's suggest a name for me, just give us a shout. But as always, cheers for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.